And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Valorant Champions Tour. This is the first of the open qualifiers here in Challengers. My name's still Tanner Metro, joined by Ito himself. And we just came off a pretty devastating loss in 100 Thieves, taking down 5 Emperors. It was to be expected. It was a pretty brutal one, but at the end of the day, everybody was still high in spirits.
Right. I mean, and there's a lot, again, to take away that was great from the 5 Emperors. They had a pretty strong performance on Bind, not so much on Ascent, but some great highlight plays here and there. You know, I'm trying to remember the name. Nothing in particular, I think, had some pretty great flashes. And I actually think we have some replays that might kind of summarize the match in case you weren't able to catch all of it. So, you know, it was here and there for 5 Emperors, but not unexpected at all from 100 Thieves. However, we're not doing 100 Thieves for this next match.
No, we are not. We are going to be jumping in the round of 64 following NRG taking on BLÅHAJ here. And I mean, this match that we're looking at in these replays definitely does 5 Emperors a bit more justice. Obviously, the Ascent not as great as Steel here close things out. I think it was a 3K here, and then towards the end, I think it was another 3K on that B side. Hiko with the 2 kills and that shock dart. And again, it was aggression, the name of the game. I'm wondering how long we're going to see that, or how many teams we're going to see that be the name of the game, right? Who's going to try and slow things down? Who's going to try and pick up the pace here and try and catch the opposition off guard? Because obviously that is the 100 Thieves way. We get to see if it's the NRG way. Yeah, here's the close. So it was not only the shock darts there, but it was a sheriff in the hands of Steel on that one to pick up a 3K. And there you guys go. We've got the rosters here for both of these squads. And NRG, I want to say a fan favorite, Ito. I feel like everybody wants to get their hand in the pot when it comes to watching an NRG game.
Oh, for sure, because NRG have only been getting better and better as time has gone by. You know, I think they won the final tournament of 2020, or at least the final one that had pretty high major team, what's the word I'm looking for, attendance. So, you know, NRG, considering how they started, they switched up their lineup, bringing in Infinite towards the end, and kind of controversially dropping Kohler, and yet it still worked out, and they've actually looked really, really solid. NRG, I think, again, they kind of shine in their early round calls if I had to choose one thing to point out about them. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want to completely forget the other team here. This is an interesting one, BLÅHAJ, because they've actually had some pretty interesting results in the past. They've won against Carpe Noctem, Balanced Esports, and Fun Snatchers, all of which are teams that I'd say are kind of gatekeepers of that Tier 3/Tier 2 team, or of that Tier 3/Tier 2 team barrier, rather. So maybe things could get a little bit more competitive, especially since we have actually, I think, found out our map vetoes. I'm not exactly sure, though. I'll have to double check on that info, but I mean, things, I wouldn't say are all perfect for NRG.
No, I mean, the start of the broadcast, one of the first things we said, right, is that today could be the day of upsets. You know, there's a lot of moving parts, not only in just the rosters themselves, but as far as, you know, teams picking up random free agents that have been let go, just trying to kind of force things and make it work. And then we've also got operator changes. We have a new operator added to the mix that we've yet to see. We have not seen Yoru just yet, but I can't imagine we shy away from Split for too long. Obviously, Icebox still one that I think a lot of teams are still kind of trying to figure out. One of the biggest things, and I'm surprised that we kind of see it, is the nerfs to Jet feel like that really hurts that agent, especially when now that smoke only lasts just about as long to plant that spike. So if you're looking to make a play like that, you don't have a whole lot of time to say, hey guys, I'm going in, you know, somebody try and trade me or come in with me. You have to, once you're trying to make a play inside that smoke, you have to get that spike down almost immediately. So a whole lot of changes, and that is going to be, I guess, one of the things that we see firsthand. I don't know the last time I got to watch an NRG game coming on through, especially since the most recent changes to Split and to Jet, Brimstone as well. And now we get to see it and how it affects them specifically against a team, like you said, that doesn't have the longest track record, but does have a couple of good wins in most recently, I think this month, right? In a couple of invitationals in this month, BLÅHAJ has kind of been able to show up.
Well, I was kind of waiting to drop this bomb on you, but you mentioned that we haven't seen any Yoru. I have the logs pulled up of the last game that NRG just played against Virtuoso, and Shanks was on Yoru.
Interesting.
So it's kind of in place with what you mentioned about the nerfs to Jet, especially since Shanks played a ton of Jet, as you might imagine. He's an insane duelist. He's picking up the Yoru as well, so a very new addition to the roster. But I'm wondering, I mean, is this something that Chet, the coach of NRG, has been trying to implement into their team since he got released? Is it just something that they're doing for the round of 128, round of 64, before they really start getting into some of these more crazy teams, the ones who are kind of the gatekeepers of tier 1/tier 2? I mean, how far is this Yoru going to go? Or is it going to be a staple for them? You know? Lots of questions up in the air.
I think something that I've heard kind of in the atmosphere talking about Jet and Jet being, if not the strongest, one of the strongest agents for being your opper, right? Your operator, whoever's using that, typically you see it on Jet. I think Yoru kind of in the same sense adds that shot and then dash factor where you can use, you can displace yourself. You can set something up at the beginning of the map, take a shot elsewhere and completely, not only completely switch up your position in an instant just about, but in a way that you're not necessarily getting hurt, right? Everybody hears that Jet dash. Everybody knows when Jet is going up in the air or dashing in, dashing out, even sometimes in the direction that the Jet is headed. So now with Yoru, things get a bit spicier. So that is one of the ways I think Yoru can be implemented a whole lot. And I think coming into this one, just like Icebox was, just like some of these split changes might be, it's a huge X factor as a whole, as some teams might not have that competitive setting or played that competitive setting with Yoru's. Now we already take a peek at these maps and where we are going to be headed. And unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of Sage between these teams in the map pick. Sure? But it does look like we have, what is that going to be? The Icebox, bind and split. So Icebox to kick things off and split down at the end. I guess, okay, Icebox, maybe we see a Sage, but I'm just hoping we get a whole lot of Yoru Ito.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing. It's like, does Yoru slot in just fine? Because Haven and Bind were played by NRG in their last game against Virtuoso, and they didn't bring out the Sage there, but they definitely brought out the Yoru. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's all too unexpected to maybe see it. Icebox, though, it is going to be a complete X factor. I do not have the stats on hand, unfortunately, but Sage, I think, just kind of makes sense to bring. She has a lot to offer on Icebox in particular, and it wouldn't be unexpected to see them maybe pick it up. They're thinking about it. EU is hovering Sova right now. Not too late to maybe pick up that Sage, my friend. Or are they just going to completely shy away from everything I mentioned? Okay, well, we'll have to actually see as the timer ticks down. Again, anything can happen in such early stages like this. I know he's not doing the Viper. He's just trolling us, isn't he? There's no way they do double smokes with it. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be crazy for them to, but one thing that I think I remember seeing before from NRG, I don't have the VOD again on hand. I've done all this research, but I don't have the names. But what they do is this really interesting wall by Kitchen. And what they do is partially clip it on the defender side by B. And sometimes Shanks likes to use double updraft up there to have like this really cheeky headshot angle. And I mean, hey, the Jet is there, but the Sage is not. EU has actually decided to pick up the Sova instead. So we're not going to be seeing that cheeky Sage wall. We're not going to be seeing the Sage whatsoever. It's going to be a completely blank slate. And Tanner, I'm not really sure what I can expect.
It's different, to say the least. We're already getting this X factor in Icebox to see how NRG can match up against it. And this is the pick for BLÅHAJ. So this might be one of those teams. I think one of the best ways is I get the worm and the squirrel up top. That's a new one to me. So thank you, observers, for bringing my attention to that. The high ground taken there. The interesting thing or something new here, I think when you have a team, you're kind of putting it together. You're trying to figure some things out. Icebox is probably one of the best maps for you to learn because a lot of people still feel uncomfortable on it. So if somebody's trying to catch you off guard or you're trying to catch somebody off guard and take you to Icebox or take somebody to Icebox, I think that's one of the best things that you can add to your arsenal. As I see it as a BLÅHAJ map pick. They are going to be on the attacking side here, and that spike creeping up towards A. Almost historically, we've seen teams either hit A every single time or hit B every single time. So hopefully here, Ito, we get a little bit of a a mix of both in this game.
Variety is a spice of life, but for now it is going to be a little bit more bland. Hopefully there is a little bit of spice though, as it seems to be a burst up. Drone has already been used, but this dart is what they're going to be relying on for their intel. NRG, up until that point, had 5 players at the ready. Now they're going back to their default setup, and that will be the cue for BLÅHAJ to start pushing in. Blix, avoiding that paranoia, hasn't exactly pathed towards sight, and keep an eye on that spike, because it's going to be going down in a very cheeky angle inside this dark cover. Right now, BLÅHAJ, they're looking to play post-plant as much as possible, but here come the rain of frenzies! Already, Blue just fills the kill feed, and NRG finished the round before you have a chance to breathe, much less get that spike down.
NRG, they saw Icebox in this map rotation, and they chose violence. On the defensive side, it was all blood here. And it was looking to be a spike plant at the very least, but for whatever reason, it was halted, it was stopped. They tried to pick the fight instead, and everything goes the way of NRG. Now, just like we saw a slow, apprehensive start from BLÅHAJ, we're getting that as well when it comes to the buy here in round 2. Apprehensive, hanging on to pistols, maybe looking to just grab whatever they can here. And this one as they creep up towards this B site, already getting a little bit of variety. But it should be a round picked up here by NRG.
On paper, at least. An early duel in the grand scheme of things, taken over by A main. This flash is going to be used for it. That Lear's good to single-handedly take that kill onto Trakes, and everything is shut down. Once again, NRG, they move so quickly. And they move themselves up to 2. It's not unexpected, because like you just mentioned, Tanner, it was pistols. It was that kind of apprehensive buy. But this time, it's not going to be so much. They have all those Vandals all the way across the board, and NRG are still sticking with their Spectres. They're going to treat this as a bonus round. I want to see what Infinite does here. I'm kind of interested in what his move will be, because does he fight for that ultimate orb since he's relatively close, about halfway to that lockdown? Or does he just try to respect what BLÅHAJ now have to work with? This new artillery, again, might provide a little bit more spice, but BLÅHAJ are looking to once again take early A control and maybe just burst onto the site once more. Kind of like what we saw on this pistol, only maybe a little bit more successful.
NRG actually expecting a hit up towards mid. They've completely sacrificed this A site, now rotating on back. As the flashes come through, there's the flash and dash. Not going to find too much, as those smokes are doing a good job of clearing this site out, or keeping the sight lines blinded. So I'm going to find the first. That one through smoke. Hijinx is able to trade one back. The spike has since been planted, and now we get to see that post plant that we thought would come in that pistol round. It is a 4v4, and that spike just planted off site a little bit. Not necessarily the most defaulted position. Nano Swarms look to go on out. Daps might just be able to stick this one. They're trying to stay through the smoke, but NRG, no, they stop it for a moment. Psalm forced to get back on, and now Zill has to try and trade it out, but he just can't do it. BLÅHAJ seemed like they had the recipe to win a round, but they just couldn't get it done.
It was a scary start for them, that's for sure. BLÅHAJ, that is the execute that they wanted by all means. They did get the spike down, you know, they fell back to their favorite positions. It was really patiently played at right moments. Daps, I want to point out in particular, because you notice that NRG were really only going for the idea. They really only pushed to get that spike defused when they had that dark cover available. So patient use of their utility, excuse me, and discipline always seems to be the name of the game, doesn't it? BLÅHAJ yet to find a round, and that was their best chance to do it. Now NRG have full rifles in their hands. No longer are we messing with the pithy tools such as those Spectres, as scary as they might be. We're actually dealing with really heavy-hitting stuff at this point, including the operator right here on Shanks. So, I want to point out real quick, what do BLÅHAJ look for here? This is a bit more of a default for them, but they don't have the artillery to really kind of full send or get away with a lot of these picks. They need to have some incredible positioning, I feel, to actually succeed in this department.
They are very aware of this operator as well as it took down that drone. That shot fired makes this B site pretty scary. Smokes once more, though, to stop the sight lines. for NRG, and a slow creep up 1 towards 2. The Omen surely going to meet each other.
Patience.
Dap's going to get the better half of that. One is going to be traded back. Make it another. A beautiful shot from downtown. Jet on jet action. And it doesn't mean winning the round, but it does mean hurting the economy. Unless that operator can get picked up. Once more, spike planted. Hijinks peeks out a bit too soon. The smoke just cannot keep him alive. Infinite with a nice 3K. Find a 4th round for NRG. Now, Ito, I'm going to take a step back here. I'm going to out myself a little bit. What do you consider a bonus round? A bonus round to me is what I'm going to say is I've always understood it as it's the round where you hang on to your guns, and it should be a free win from the opposition because they're on full rifles. But it seems like everybody kind of leans the other way. It's a bonus round. You don't have to rebuy guns.
Well, that's my school of thought, is that it's kind of the leftovers from round number 2, those force-ups, where you're going to be seeing a lot of Spectres, a lot of Stingers, hell, even a Marshal if you're feeling really crazy. It's not going to be the rifles like you see right now in NRG's hands. You're not going to be seeing an Operator round 3 if it's a bonus, in other words. It's just more preserving your economy and, I guess, really fully feeling the effects of it a little bit later on. NRG, I mean, it's not like they've had to worry about their economy at all. Some of these rounds haven't even gone the distance, and NRG, for the most part, have been able to collapse and completely shut down BLÅHAJ without much retaliation. It's another A execute in, Tanner, and we're still not seeing that variety that I mentioned previously. A couple of B hits here and there, but once again, A seems to be their destination of choice. This time a much safer plant, mind you. This is going to completely change up how BLÅHAJ play. That's actually really interesting.
All 5 members still alive here, and as you said, a much safer plant. Galmok gonna go down here. Infinite gonna pick that first one up. Sounded like that spike was teased for the defuse, and it's red going good for 2. There's the Rolling Thunder gonna buy a bit of time. EU and Dapso looking to close things out. They're not done yet. This is beautiful from BLÅHAJ, just trying to play against the clock, and now in the 1v1. The diffuser Shanks, he's still in the smoke. That is the limited time for the smokes. This Trakes to get it done. What a way to win that round. A beautifully played round by BLÅHAJ. It got a little sloppy, but the close there was absolutely fantastic.
The pre-fire was beautiful there from Trakes. That is something that you can only have the game sense for. That wasn't a reaction shot. That man, he used his ears. He used all 5 senses, and he can now taste victory. That is huge. BLÅHAJ. That's a round they desperately needed, mind you, and they actually fared so much better against NRG than probably their best chance would have been, that bonus round that we talked about a little bit earlier. NRG, they still have another buy in them, no problems, no doubts there whatsoever, but since that got so scrappy, things are a little bit more scary, as Som is definitely going to be dancing with danger and trying to make things even more horrific as he barely gets out after tagging down that drone. There was some really heavy spam towards that area, but he managed to evade all those bullets, stays healthy, and now Daps is going to be the next one to maybe get a little bit of love, because he is pushed out all the way towards mid.
I love this approach by NRG.
They have lockdown.
Here we go. Trakes able to put that one down. There's beautiful. The shot coming on through, and the approach from NRG has been beautiful. They're playing the slow playstyle with the slow playstyle. They don't care, and Som is here. He's able to dismiss away, but does he get out? No, he's going to be detained. So one going to be sacrificed over to the Valorant gods.
But he's still alive.
Zil actually falls. He's still alive. A beautiful play by NRG working together. And a round that looked to be in favor of BLÅHAJ, they don't even get a kill, Ito.
It started out so good because they burned off a ton of time from the clock, got a very nice Killjoy lockdown, you know, right out there. But everything kind of crumbled apart from there. That detain, I thought for sure was going to be a kill, but that man is just hopping his way. I think we have the replay of it. Oh, no, it's actually going to be Shanks. All right, no, there it is from Som. That man got detained, and yet he was just still hopping his way to victory. That is unbelievable, actually. But, you know, the teamwork, it's exactly what you said, Tanner. I feel like you're bringing up all these points even before me, is that is those fundamentals that I always talk about. Being able to trade each other out. We do have a little bit of a pause, so we kind of can fully break down why that's so good from NRG. And it really does come down to being in those perfect positions to, even if it's not the craziest highlight, you're not looking for a solo play, you're looking to keep each other alive. They have that one on lock, and that sort of structure is what so many teams just strive to have.
The patience, right? It's almost the exact opposite from what we saw, and it's NRG adapting to BLÅHAJ's playstyle. BLÅHAJ trying to draw out everything that they can, whether it be utility, whether it be rotations, making noise here when the play is over there. NRG haven't bit a single time on that, and that play was a perfect showing of that, where Shanks just holding fast up in nest, watching towards that defender, or the attacker side at spawn, excuse me, finds that op shot. Then I guess a little bit of aggression from Psalm playing up with that lockdown coming on through, but still just holding stout to where they want to play, not changing anything up, not biting off more than they can chew. And it is just, it's worked phenomenally. Obviously, one round it didn't, but that was a pretty Herculean effort from BLÅHAJ to be able to pick up that round win. And NRG, they look poised, they look patient, and they look really good here on Icebox.
And you can always have that talk about how much of that structure comes from their coach, because I think I also brought this up a little bit earlier. They have brought on Chet, who was famously the coach for Evil Geniuses in Counter-Strike. He has been kind of known since he originally got his start in coaching like 2015 or something of the sort, for actually being able to provide a lot of this kind of structure for teams. And considering how NRG started out with some pretty middling results, let's be honest here, they have looked so much better, even through the controversial change of, dropping Kohler despite him having an overall good performance. They know best. At the end of the day, the players themselves know exactly what's up, and NRG, they're looking great because of it. Sure, this is still early days, not only of this game, but of the tournament as a whole, but it is one hell of a way to open things up, that is for sure. Confidence is just kind of seeping from them.
Confidence is key, especially in a game like this, where if you're losing your gunfights, boy, oh boy, does it feel bad. And fortunately for NRG, they're just not. They've had the angles, they've had the opportunities, again, just holding steady, not worrying about too much. I think we saw in that last matchup sometimes where 100 Thieves, I'm thinking of one play specifically, Hiko was holding an angle on bind, and I don't think they had as much site security as they thought they did. Hiko looks away from where he's watching for 1 second, and he gets tactical shooter timing. And like, that's just kind of how it played out. For NRG, they just have the angles, and they have each other's backs. It makes me think about Shanks, not worried about a single thing when he was watching that attacker side at spawn. He was just holding fast. Nothing was going to make him move. No footsteps, not anything, because he had complete faith in his team. And when you slap together a bunch of solid players, and you brought up the coach, structure is sometimes what you need. So I've been impressed thus far. It is only the round of 64, and I'll be a little more impressed if they bring out the Yoru and do some crazy things with that. But it's kind of tough now going into this one on the opposite side for BLÅHAJ. They're running dual initiators. They haven't gotten the most value, I feel like, and it's slow, and they push in quick, and all the angles are just held down by NRG, right? And it's only taking 3 members. So I'm interested to think or kind of get your thoughts on the changes they can make. Maybe a bit more mid play. There is no Sage, so into kitchen tube, that's going to be free all the time.
Well, it's going to be a real test for BLÅHAJ, quite obviously, because just what they're up against. But they did win in the round of 128 game. Not sure what maps were played then, but this is the pick of BLÅHAJ, so they definitely know their way around Icebox despite being such a new map. What they need to do is it's a monolith of a question, because really, you can always improve, but I think they need to try to focus, if nothing else, on trying to get the cleanest post plants down, or the cleanest plants down that they can, and really kind of bank on being able to hold the line kind of where they are right now. If you can hold on to these positions securely, that's the most uncomfortable NRG have looked. There's potential for sure. Again, this is a team that did win their opening match at single elim. Now they need to do it against a Juggernaut. And this Juggernaut is angry, will find the opening kill, actually right into a Nano Swarm as well. Psalm takes a bit of damage. There's a plant that they need. BLÅHAJ, they're on the right track, but they're down a player. They're down 2, they're down 3. Can we count to 5? Because apparently BLÅHAJ can. That's now going to be 6-1, surely, unless Xiaoma can pull off the miracle. It's not going to happen. And that is what's so hard. That right there is a pinnacle, Tanner, of what I'm talking about. If they can get the plant down, that post plant is so difficult. That's why it needs to be so clean. That's why it needs to be so flawless, because otherwise, NRG are just going to absolutely run through them. It's so difficult to play against, man. I don't know how they do it.
Hats off to, or a big shout out to Psalm there, picking up a kill on the Blades. Hijinks goes down, and using that dismiss and seeing all 4 members, the way that he danced around up top, he was able to spot out everybody to let his team know, hey, once more, they're just rushing onto this A site.
Right.
I believe that was an eco round, so, you know, you get the plant, so you get an extra couple of credits. You find a kill, which hurts the economy just a bit. You see it's a little wonky across, I think, 1,800 for one member on NRG and 7,000 on another. You see 6,500 on Daps here. So they're still sitting pretty. It's not the best you can hope for, but at the very least, a plant no less. Now we go back to the drawing board, and things a bit different. That operator has since switched things up, headed on over towards mid, right underneath the tube here, just making sure nobody's coming out of that attacker-sided spawn. The spike hovering towards mid too, so Shanks might just be set up in the most perfect position. A smoke not completely blocking his line of sight here either, so this could be bad, and there it is. Zill, the first to go down. That is flashes off the board, and once more BLÅHAJ on the back foot.
One thing that NRG tried doing but didn't get fully utilized is actually EU was inside a dark cover to kind of possibly play contact off of Shanks in case that maybe he needed a trade, maybe there's just a full swarm of people running at him. It didn't even get utilized, but that's something that I can definitely see being used later on down the line. BLÅHAJ will go back to the old faithful A push. Although it hasn't had the best results, it has been one of their most promising forays into being able to take down NRG. And it's not looking promising yet again. They don't even get the spike down. EU will stop that early.
Couple of kills traded back, though. It is going to be answered. Now a 2v3, making it 2v1. It is Blix, the last alive. He has to worry about Psalm coming right at him in the dismiss. And Infinite right behind. NRG pick up another. And this brings me now to a thought. Is there this much of a gap between these teams? Is NRG this far ahead of this BLÅHAJ squad who's made it to the round of 64? And if not, what in this map pick makes this where BLÅHAJ wants to go? Do you think it is just that trying to throw a wrench into things and NRG just, they're ready for it? Because nothing from the score lines to the players, the score lines of the game, nothing screams, yes, this is BLÅHAJ's map pick. I would not have assumed that at all.
That's something I think only the teams will truly know, because we haven't seen anything all too promising from BLÅHAJ just yet. My only gamble is that it's the map that NRG have played the least, but the results, the few that we have at least from them, have been pretty good. A 67% win rate out of 3. So, I mean, you're not exactly talking huge numbers here, but I guess they really did want to kind of throw a spanner in the works, if you would. Surprise factor hasn't exactly been game-changing all too much yet. And it's going to be exactly the same thing as Shanks finds the opener. 55 seconds left on the clock, and a flank does come through, which is great. That alarm bot, I don't think, was quite far enough to actually catch out Hijinks. So he doesn't get tagged until after he's found the kill. BLÅHAJ, they have a bit more space to work with, but they do not have the artillery to use it, to take advantage of it, excuse me. I'm pretty sure Psalm actually found that kill here, but he didn't. And guess where BLÅHAJ are going? They have one bet here, Tanner.
30 seconds left.
Headed over to A, but to add adultery, the numbers get dwindled down again. Shanks with a beautiful shot here. Now Psalm with the angle. Sheriff right in his face. He's able to find the spray down. And it's all up to Xiaoma. Got a stinger, got a dream, but Shanks picks up 2 with the operator, swaps on over to that frenzy. They close it out. And I thought maybe Shanks get a little complacent.
Right.
On that over T, but 2 beautiful ones to answer back, and you know, 2 wrongs making a right or something like that. Either way, Shanks came out on top.
And once again, NRG on their winning or in their winning ways once more. As for the ultimate check, something I always like to do, Traix is a little over halfway to getting another lockdown. I think that is going to be their biggest engine to push. Also keep in mind maybe that Rolling Thunder, that's in Zill's potential arsenal. Only 2 points away from that. I want to see a little bit more of an emphasis over taking orbs. I think that B1 might be a little bit more suited for them. If they can toss out a dark cover, deny Shanks of some of that early information, you can fight for it. You know, I think that might be your best chance to try to isolate a pick, as scary as that might be. It's against an op, for Christ's sakes. But something, you know, you can't just keep on cowering away, especially when you already see they have the idea that they want to go back to B's. Kind of, you can see the cogs turning in their head right now of maybe we make this into a mid split. They're eventually going to have to face off against Shanks here. It's a matter of when, not if.
NRG, they just have them red. Anytime they try and make a play elsewhere, they've got something to answer. As EU barely makes it out as that off shot whizzes right on by. That's the operator down now. Infinite can be the benefactor of that kill, and EU is here to stop the push through the kitchen.
So
not
patient.
in my house, he will say. Daps to back him up after the kill is traded, and the biggest victory BLÅHAJ has is hurting the economy of one player just about every single round, but it's not enough to find anything. And the spice, variety is a spice of life. That is something that you said at the beginning of the game. You can see that BLÅHAJ is just trying to give us that spice. Just nothing is working. Everything that they throw at the wall, it's just been batted down. NRG, stalwart on defense. And at this point, you're looking 9-1. Quite possibly could be an 11-1 half. And BLÅHAJ have to come up with a crazy defense to be able to put up some numbers.
Or maybe a crazy attacking round. That is one start. The Sheriff will find the opener. Tanner, again, this is a potential engine to push. Actually, Miss Flash, I think, denies a bit of space. Killjoy ult, that lockdown will be used maybe a bit preemptively from NRG. But look at this, BLÅHAJ, they're starting to back up. Oh my god, hijinks! I can't believe he actually dies there. What a nuts shot, excuse me, from, I think that was Infinite? I don't even understand how he hit that banger. But, you know, BLÅHAJ, they are spicing things up. I respect it. They just can't get right there, man. It's rough.
A winnable one at that. Infinite, ooh, gonna be the first to contact. Zill takes it down. It's the Sheriffs for me. Poor BLÅHAJ here. Now Psalm has to get it done all by his lonesome. I would imagine he's probably got the economy to get it done. 5,900 credits in his back pocket. Is able to spot out one. That's Joe Mock to sit him down. It's another round for BLÅHAJ. I counted him out a little too soon. Still a scary spot. And at the end of the day, it's not 11-1. You got a bit more breathing room going into that defensive side. And now we see if they can get a bit more space at the end here of the half.
Of course, it's the eco that does the trick. Great individual performances, great individual shots, I should say, excuse me, from BLÅHAJ. You know, you always got to point out Zill, because that second shot that he got on the player holding behind yellow was actually game-changing. But they need to keep this up. 9-3 is going to be the best that they can hope for at this point. They have plenty of ultimates in their arsenal, including that Rolling Thunder, which I told you to keep a note of. Now we're actually going to be seeing it come into play, and this is where it matters most. 9-3 is a world of a difference between this and 10-2. Even if it doesn't seem by much, NRG have to respect that Rolling Thunder, and this should be a plant by all intents and purposes. However, the shut me up once again will be NRG. How do they keep doing it?
This is just the result of a team being fire hot, firing on all cylinders. NRG, they seem unstoppable. Even with the bow out, he's still alive. How? EU finally goes down in Psalm to close it on out. 10-2 at the half. But as you said, I mean, NRG, they just look so good. They make you eat your words. They're winning every single fight. They cannot be stopped here.
Yeah, they just move so quickly. It is wonderful to watch. BLÅHAJ, again, I really respect what they're doing here, but when you're just faced off against NRG, who is fire hot, what can you really hope for? need to watch this again. Oh my god, I just realized that second kill Infinite got was through the dark cover. He didn't even see it, and yet he still believed in himself enough to spray down and completely blindside Zill. That is such a painful way to go out. NRG, the wind is in their sails, and now they're going to be the ones dictating the pace even more so. They're attacking, and BLÅHAJ seem to be ready for this challenge over towards A. Let's see who hits the shots. Last time we saw pistols, it was BLÅHAJ. Maybe it's time for you know, another round to go through.
Daps from downtown, the Frenzy is able to pick up the kill on that turret. So now a little bit less to worry about over towards that B site. This pistol round, it is a big one, right? 10-2. You pick this one up if you're BLÅHAJ. You hope NRG doesn't force and kind of just runs away in the next one. But you could string together a couple of rounds on defense and start to get that confidence up. But Frenzies might be the deterring factor here as they look to push up onto the side. Hijinks already taken a bit of damage, was able to escape, but now under 100 HP. Needs to be careful. That spike yet to be planted. The dark covers. The clouds all over the place. Nice aftershock and a stop the plant for just a moment, but a lot of time left on the clock. Now, it did buy time for the rotation to come through. Dap still holding it down. Hijinks on lower HP, able to pick one up. Infinite trades it back, but it's back and forth. Blue for 2, blue for 3 here. NRG find themselves on the back foot on the attacking side. The spray from the ghosts. Nobody gonna fall there in that trade, and it's all up to Psalm once more. Running out of time here, just about 10 seconds on the clock. He's just got to send it. He takes a shot at one, not going to pick it up as Joe Mock sits him down. I didn't see the utility there at the end. That could have been a bad spot should he had the Devour available. Psalm could have turned it around, but at the end of the day, BLÅHAJ are able to pick up another, and we'll see where this economy heads, Ito, for this round for NRG.
Time was really of the essence there, too. You mentioned maybe the dismiss could have been used, but you also have to keep in mind that he needed to find 3 kills in, 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. It was still a very tall order, even if he did have that in his favor. But BLÅHAJ, it's exactly what they needed. This is the kind of a glimpse of redemption. This is what they can bring to a fight. And it was a great hold. Not quite stalwart, if I can borrow your word there, but definitely reactive, and it's completely perfect to shut down NRG, even if it is just for 1 round. But NRG have forced up once more. Doesn't seem to amount to anything, at least in the opening stages of round number 14, as they have completely dismantled the NRG side. 0 kills. What in the world? He is just wondering what went wrong. He won't find an answer.
No answer there. That was probably not as expected from NRG. Forcing up. They just get mowed down. Jalmok, I think, picking up a 3K in that round. 2 to start things, and then heading on back to that B site to lock it down and find the 3rd. The economy's in a weird spot, but I guess if you're NRG, you have the breathing room. You have that wiggle room to just try and force up and regain control. You pick up a win on that eco, and it, again, switches things in your favor. The economy, or that force, rather, the economy gets awkward on the defending side, and NRG could then, play that overpowering, that overwhelming style that they've been playing in these gunfights. Not necessarily the case, though, as BLÅHAJ get back on the board. So they live to go for another round. So that force didn't work. The pistol did not work. And now this next one, it's another half-ish buy, yard sale buy. It could be enough, though, to get in the game as that sheriff shot goes wide. Nanoswarm comes out. Dark to the back. Not going to get any information. At the very least, NRG should be able to get that spike down.
Spike planted.
At least for now, but it's not over yet. Great early stages from NRG, but this is where they are most lethal. As soon as that spike goes down, whether they're on the defensive or attacking end, they always seem to be crazy. Tanner, this is not nearly done yet. No players have died yet. This is insane.
Ooh, there's the kills that come on through, though. It's the SMGs, the Spectres for Zill and Blix. BLÅHAJ looking to close things out. It's all up to Shanks, but the defuse comes through no less, and Shanks will fall at the end of things. Imposter down, says Hijinks. And that was scary because nobody dying, you're no longer having that clock on your side if you're a defender. You have to make something happen or that spike is going to blow. Fortunately, Zill and Blix kick things off with a couple of crucial kills to mow down some key members. And then Shanks playing too far back with just the Sheriff, not able to find the angle. Now we get to that spot where it is that bonus buy.
There we are.
The bonus round here for BLÅHAJ as they're going to hang on to their SMGs. And it's rifles for NRG. And this is where they've been the most lethal.
Right now, the things that I'm going to be looking out for here is, do they fight for this ult orb at all? Do they even fake it to try to bait out an early peek? Or do they actually go on the aggro here? Hijinx is completely caught off guard by Infinite, who has the higher ground, but, well, I'm going to avoid the easy Star Wars reference here because that's about where the action ends. We once again kind of halt, slow things down once more. Again, I think at this point, things are not good for BLÅHAJ, quite obviously, but NRG, how far do they try to push this? This is kind of what they did in that last round. They completely cut noise, or they got up as close as they could, and then they just kind of burst it on up. This time, though, there's a little bit more intel, and BLÅHAJ are starting to fight back, making it a bit more preemptive. NRG can't quite get up for free. They're forced to concede a little bit of space, make a bit more noise. Baby, we got a round going.
Yeah, it's slow, very slow, but this has kind of been the name of the game for the entirety of this game, even when BLÅHAJ were on the attacking side. Player goes through a big flank coming from Daps. Should he make his way on in that turret? Gonna grab some info. And a paranoia heads on out. And now the rotation gonna be stunted here by Som. They're all rotating over to B. Daps gives them the green light. Able to find a kill as well. Another one on this side. Blitz one up though. Som goes down. That's a big one to pick up. Rifle should be in the hands of Blix as they rotate back over. BLÅHAJ find themselves in a flanks here, making sure Shrakes had way in. And now 6 feet under. Jalmok, the leading fragger here for this BLÅHAJ squad. Gonna try and do everything he can. That spike plant in that default position. That's to be expected. Smokes go down the turret, actually spots him up top, so a bad spot. The alarm bot, it's all thrown on the spike here. He's gonna fake it once, but he has so many members to worry about inside the smoke. He will fall. Now Blix, not able to do anything. Just gonna hang on to that rifle that he picked up and that kill on Som. NRG battle back. And like we said at the beginning, rifles is where NRG are the most lethal. It's okay to hand over those force rounds. They're A-okay to hand over the pistol. Because you give them some Phantoms, you give them some Vandals, and they just get it done.
Oh my god. That firing range as soon as the spike was tapped is something out of a comedy. Just immediate. Your noise. Oh my god, it was just filling with bullet noises. That was absurd. I cannot believe, looking at this round again, that fake that they did was wonderful. It started out, luckily our observers and you both pointed it out, that Omen was all alone, Daps over towards B, and he ended up weaving it into a perfect round in favor of NRG. The big brain on the man, what can you say? Perfect mid-round call. NRG, they move themselves up to 11, and what a beautiful fashion to do it as well. BLÅHAJ, that was a bonus, sure, so they will have rifles into this next round, but when it comes down to a call like that, I don't think even having Vandals in your favor would have made nearly as much of a difference. I don't think it matters as much as just the big brain plays from NRG. Once again, they cut noise. This is what I mentioned before in that round that they otherwise lost. They walk up as close as they can, and they have the entire site to themselves, a player in their favor, and that spike in their grasp.
And everyone rotating over here from BLÅHAJ. You've seen one member incredibly far away. Hijinx still going to be trying to catch up with his team. 3 members now looking to push in, and it's the post plant once more. The alarm bot gets the information as to where Strakes is playing. Doing the back of the side now. Hijinx made his way in, but the running headshot from Som, he's able to dismiss away, and it just feels bad to go down like that. It's Infinite once more for a couple more. Jalmok trying to hang on as long as he could, but it's not long enough. It's NRG to 12 and 5, and man, Som, that is... Yeah, I mean, what can you do? The running headshot. It feels so bad.
Feels so bad to be on the receiving end of, that's for sure.
Exactly,
but on the dealing end, oh my god, you're gassing yourself up. NRG, they have everything in their favor as well for this round. It's like I said before, man, the rich get richer. They have so many good engines. These are like 3 of the best ults in the game, it feels like, man. I mean, not all of them, obviously, but... God, there's so many opportunities for them to close it out right here, but I really want to say, before anything else, as much as we're chalking this up to being a dominating NRG victory, which it is, so much respect to BLÅHAJ, because even when you know, they weren't exactly getting things going. They were constantly switching things up, and they have shown some promise. But Icebox, well, doesn't seem to be the map that they've shown up on. Maybe they're a map 2 kind of team.
Have the spike.
It does feel a little unfortunate that map 2 is going to be an NRG map pick. Now that lockdown used for the attackers here, NRG looking to push everybody off this A site. Play here more. Hijinx still hanging out all the way over to B, so making sure that there is no lurker this time. There is no rally the troops onto this B site. Nobody gonna have that information. Nobody detained. The Nanoswarm goes out with a bit of information. Now Blix able to stop the plant, but it was more so feeling like a bait there to get that Hunter's Fury out of the way.
No way, they go B?
And yeah, the rotation coming on through. Hijinx is sniffing this one out, though. He is privy to this information, and he's going to hang out over towards Snowman. Breaks. Now watching up towards mid. Doesn't spot anybody, but could quite possibly hear the footsteps now. Saw him once more, though, on the flank. This is where this Reyna likes to hang out, likes to play. The shot goes wide. First op shot down. Blades come through. Going to be traded back and forth. Hijinx takes a bit of damage, but he finds a kill on the back end.
Time.
3v4 BLÅHAJ. Yep, they just got to buy some time here. That spike now going to be planted. Saw him on the flank. Shanks from downtown. The knives don't matter. Neither does the clock, as the defenders are going to be working against it. It's match point here on Icebox. Game number 1 in the round of 64. Zill is able to even the odds on the Reyna. Now needs to find some more with 31 HP and a Dream. Both members from NRG playing off the spike over towards that alt orb. Shank on 50. Let's get flashed. The shots come through from the top of the box, and that's a full HP Daps. That's a 0 HP Daps. Now Shanks just needs to buy some time. Zill needs to push in and find the kill, but he will not. It's a 3K from none other than Shanks to close things out. In Icebox, the BLÅHAJ map pick goes the way of NRG.
But so much respect as well. NRG, it's impossible to deny how good they looked. This is like the NRG that we saw towards the end of 2020. It looks, quite honestly, pretty fantastic. It's still early days. Yes, I understand this is a round of 64 team, but I'm loving what I'm seeing so far just in these early days of this kind of new face still, NRG. However, it's not the end of the road yet for either one of these teams. We still have a potential 2 other maps to look forward to, Tanner.
Yeah, and Icebox was one of the ones I had the most questions. Now, map 3 is going to be split. So some way, somehow, should BLÅHAJ be able to pick up a map 2 victory. I believe that one is going to be on Ascent here. I want to take a look. No, it's Bind, actually. So we're going to be headed over to Bind. Should BLÅHAJ be able to pick up a win there, then we get to see split. We get to see some more changes. We already, I think, got a huge change in Icebox not having a single Sage across the board.
Yeah.
So 2021 is already kind of being shaken up a little bit. And NRG looked so poised, as we said in that game. You talked about it, and you kind of, I love that you brought up that coaching is so much, and I don't think coaches get a whole lot of love, especially in stuff like this. So hats off to Chet over there working with NRG and making sure that they're staying as that stalwart defense, even on attack, just ice in their veins, taking the shots that they need to take. Now, that's only game 1. It is a best of 3. We're in the round of 64. This is going to be our last best of 3 for the night, but it's not done yet. Guys, we are going to jump away for a quick second, but when we come back, we've got some more NRG versus BLÅHAJ action, and we're taking it over to Bind.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing!
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dogpile.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.